Welcome to another episode of At the Bar for StockPulse. I'm Kelly Earle with Skeena Resources, and as always, I'm joined by Mickey Fulp, the mercenary geologist, and Brent Cook with Exploration Insights. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
You too. We are here at Nightingale in Vancouver for the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. Gentlemen, happy 2019, new year.
I want to say happy next year because it could not be any worse than 2018 was for the junior exploration and mining sector.
And that's one of the first things I wanted to talk about. I want to get to your outlook and some of the new mergers that have happened since 2019 has begun. But first, how was 2018 for you? How did your stocks perform? Did we learn any lessons? Who wants to start?
Well, I think you're always learning something.
Agreed.
One of my mantras is, a day without learning is a day wasted. And so if I get up some morning and I go, there's nothing else left to learn, I'm probably gonna be 6 feet under or cremated by 2 or 3 days later. But that said...
That surprises me because I thought he knew everything. You know?
Oh, you set him up for that one. You set him up for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you do in 2018?
Well, I actually did quite well in 2018 because a lot of what I did was private placements.
Okay.
And those tend to be longer term holds for me until my objective is...
With warrants, hopefully, at least in some cases.
Yeah,
Good.
well, generally always with
I would hope so.
Warrants, because that's the carrot they dangle. And I also did extremely well flipping stocks during tax loss season.
Okay.
So I bought some things in early to mid-December, and I flipped them at the end of December or very early in the year in May, and you can always do that. And some of the usual suspects.
But did you pick any stocks that actually had a good year in 2018?
Absolutely.
Yes?
Yeah.
For example?
Illegal royalties, we picked at 9 cents. It's hit a high of 16.5 cents.
Yep.
I haven't sold yet.
What's it at now?
14, 15. So it actually hit 16.5 cents about a week ago.
Okay.
Trilogy Metals, which we continue to hold,
a good year. Yep.
had a low of 69 cents in tax loss season of December 15. It's 234 right now, and it closed Friday at 207.
Yep.
You could have bought that stock at $1.61 in mid-December and flipped it on Friday for whatever that is, 25% gain, something
Still
like that.
pretty good in these markets.
So we played that.
Brent,
yeah.
how'd you do, Brent?
The Exploration Insights portfolio, the open positions, we were down 6% on the year. The positions we closed out, we were actually up 140%, but there's a caveat here. That was highly skewed towards a couple of stocks.
Yes.
In general, it was actually kind of a crappy year.
Yes.
We're not able to really jump in and flip stocks the way Mickey can, because we've got a lot of people. It's not right to bang them in and out of stocks because they move so much. But it was a tough year.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was a tough year.
I think we can all agree.
Well, I agree. It was a tough year.
2018 kind of sucked.
You know, so this is where you game you really try to game the market, and so some of the stuff we did with this flipping at the end of the year was strictly we were gaming the market because this happens year after year after year.
Because it was such a bad year. Yes.
Yeah. So you get stocks that have a high of 2 or 3 times their low, and you know that they're going to get massively sold off during tax loss season, and you take advantage of that.
Yes, that makes sense. So I want to know what your big wins were that skewed the portfolio. What were your big
certainly
successes?
the big one was VRIC Resources, which we actually initially bought in 2015 at around 10 cents. It got as high as $1.50, at which point Newmont put in $7 million. We took money off the table at about $1.30.
Okay.
And the drill results came back and it fell right down to 30 cents. And we're still holding a partial position in that. But, you know, we made our scratch back plus some.
Right.
And that's exploration.
Yeah, and so that goes to show you how you got to play these stocks, because we sat here in May, I think, and talked about Evrim, and you were very bullish on what drill results would be. And here comes the old truth tool, but you played that well, even though the truth tool, it was a failure, and I don't know if there's still a play there or not, but that first round of drilling killed the stock. But you've already played the market because you took all your money off.
Well, I think that brings actually a really more important part is, are you investing for a short-term flip, or are you investing for the longer
Yes.
term? And if that's what you're doing, you're investing in a company with smart people running it, good corporate and finance
Yes.
ability, which, like I say, we bought this in 2015 because the people behind it, their business model and such, and it worked. But it takes that long, to actually succeed and really succeed.
Yes, and you mentioned that as well when you brought up private placements. Those are for the long term. You have
Right,
to believe in the management team and the
Well,
project.
4 months in a day.
And so I think the lesson learned in a bear market might be what Bernard Baruch said a long, long time ago, one of the most famous investors in New York, and he said, I made all my money selling too soon. So the lesson to be learned here is, it is never wrong to take profits.
Don't be afraid to sell.
You should take profits, even if they are interim profits. I talk a lot about Trilogy, and it's one of our best. We got the subscribers in at 65 cents. I sold a tranche last year for $2 because I said it's time
Yes.
to take some profits in this company.
Agreed.
I still have my core position in Trilogy, but my cost base is now zero, which is exactly what you did with Evrim, right?
Yeah,
you get your
we're at a gambling table. If you start winning, I always put a couple coins in my
Of
pocket.
course. Good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so crappy year overall for the mining space in 2018, but you both still, made profits, and that's because you've been in it for a long run, and that's
We're
why.
too dumb to do anything else.
No, and
Yeah, well, that's part of it. We're
No.
just dumb field geologists. I'm proud to say I'm a dumb field geologist.
No, I think you were-
what else would
use
I
a
do?
smartphone.
What?
So, but my point being, it's why you have followers. It's because even in bad markets, you can both still turn a profit, and I think.
Well, I think at least we're providing legitimate information.
Exactly, about how people can still make money even in poor markets.
Well,
Right.
evaluating a from a technical point of view.
Agreed. And with
Well,
that,
yeah.
I want to talk about 2019.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be a good year. You do not agree with me. I'm
No,
not
that's
sure where you sit.
not true. I am a exploration geologist, dumb field geologist, economic geologist. By nature, I must be an eternal optimist.
You must be to work in this industry.
But you've got to be skeptical. You can't be successful in this business unless you have an overall optimistic attitude, because as Brent has pointed out and I pointed out, our chances of success are so slim. And notice I said that in a positive manner.
It's
if I
true.
was a pessimist, I would say the odds of failure are so great.
That you
So
would not be doing this.
you cannot do this unless you have an overall optimistic
Agreed.
view of the world and our business.
So, what's your outlook for 2019, Brent? Markets, metals?
I think it's going to be a good year for gold.
Okay.
And there's a lot of macro issues behind that. But what it comes down to, in my view, is that confidence in the U.S. and the U.S. dollar is
Absolutely.
declining, which means there's going to be money going into gold as an alternative to the U.S. dollar.
Yes.
So it should be a good year for gold. Base metals, I'm a bit dubious on, because I think the economy and the markets are starting to roll over.
Okay.
And that's not good for base metals. So that's kind of my thinking right there.
Okay.
Nonetheless, big economic deposits be worth something no matter what.
Yep.
And
So
your outlook?
I would agree with everything Brent says, and on the base metal front, I think it depends on absolutely what happens in the U.S.
Yes.
and it's what happens with the U.S. and China.
Tariffs.
And I am convinced now. Realize I'm a good old boy American hillbilly redneck, and I am convinced that the Chinese need us more than we need them. So I think the trade tariff war, if you want to call, I don't really think it's a war, it's negotiations. I think that will be settled in some way, shape, or form to the U.S.'s benefit. And once that happens, the hedge funds which have left commodity space will come rolling
sure
in
have
because the supply-demand fundamentals of base metals are compelling right now.
Well, looking further out, yeah. I mean, consider it takes 10 years at least to put a decent mine in production. The majors know that.
Yeah, but really we're talking about prices and what's going to make our end of the business healthy, and we need stronger base metal prices.
So we do.
All in all, I'm optimistic
Excellent.
for 2019.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on that I mentioned about earlier was mergers. So we've already seen some of the big guys merging. You know, Randgold, VRIC, Newmont, Goldcorp.
Can I roll my eyes?
Can you roll?
twice?
I know. I want to know what mergers of the big mining companies signify for the junior mining space. Does it affect it in any way? Do you see consolidation becoming a theme? Skeena works in the Golden Triangle. We've already started to see some consolidation. Ascot and IDM merge. Is this a trend for 2019? What do we think?
You know, it's going to be great for the brokers and the guys
bankers and the bankers.
Yeah,
Why is that?
Bay Street and Howe Street.
Why?
Because they're going to get in and start spinning out all this marginal stuff that doesn't work for those guys into their buddies' shell company, and then the promote comes. But you got to bear in mind that most of these projects they're spinning out are marginal. Maybe 10% will work because the restructure and someone smart gets in there, but bottom line problem, I think, in this industry is that it's getting more and more difficult to find economic deposits, and that's what we need. And spinning out crap from Goldcorp ain't going to help.
But that's why I was talking.
I agree, absolutely.
I was talking about mergers, especially in the junior space. You have a lot of jurisdictions where, you know, they get a drill hole discovery, and everybody piles in, and you get 30, 50 companies all with these tiny land packages. And can you find a regional play that's of economic value in a small land package?
The regional play for me is Nevada. You know, the best gold deposits in the world have been, are, and in my opinion will be found in Nevada because it's geologically endowed, and you can drive a rig anywhere and drill it without helicopters.
Yeah, but the problem with Nevada, in my opinion, is it's deep, they're covered, but more so, the major companies own the trends. There's very little bits and pieces they can pick up, but they own the trends. So you're looking on the outskirts and hoping like hell something's different.
And juniors don't have the guts of it. They can't make a new regional scale discovery because they don't own the trends.
They don't own the trends.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an issue with
Let's look
Nevada.
at discoveries in Nevada over the last few years. How about North Bullfrog? How about Sterling?
Well, hang on. North Bullfrog is not necessarily an economic deposit.
I'm not saying it's economic deposit.
Okay, so you can drill. You can drill anomalies all over the place.
Right.
That's what it is.
So the question then becomes: are we investing in mining companies? Are we speculating in exploration companies?
Well,
are we mining the stock market? And I will submit that what we do, you and I, is we mine the stock market.
I disagree.
Oh no, I completely agree. I completely agree with him, and that's rare. I usually side with you. But in this case, I completely agree.
How many mining companies do you own, Brent?
Just listen, I agree.
Probably 4 or 5.
Do you?
I agree with Mickey.
The only mining companies I own are ones that got taken over or acquired or graduated to miners, and I probably don't want to own them.
I agree with Mickey because we are mining the stock markets. I know you sometimes have a longer term goal or more invested, but you won't pull out at the same time he does. When you take the chips off the table you'll sell a stock.
Well, sure, that's based on technical
Yes.
data and an evaluation of the
You're
results.
taking profits.
Exactly.
Well,
But it's
You're
the same
minding the
philosophy.
stock.
Okay, then
I mean-
how about this? How about this? It's the same
You're not
philosophy.
hanging out till it becomes mine, are you?
No,
It depends on the project.
that's very true. But you have the same philosophy. You just perhaps go about
it's
it in a
unlikely.
different way.
Okay, thank you.
So, I think I hit a great topic here, and I think we should cover this again in the next episode.
Okay.
Maybe we can have a repeat at PDAC
That's-
in March, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
I think we can pull that off.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you once again for joining me for At the Bar for StockPulse. I'm Kelly Earle with Skeena, with Mickey Fulp,
Yes.
the mercenary geologist,
Toast
and
to
Brent
our audience
with
here.
Exploration
Thank you.
Insights.
Yeah, thanks for
Cheers.
watching.
Thanks.
And thank you,
Thanks,
Kelly. It's always
Jonas,
great. You do a great job.
Thanks,
Our
Brent.
filmmaker. And thanks,
Salute.
Kelly.
You're welcome.